And we're back to the Mercedes-Benz for the day. Well, for the next few minutes anyway. Took the distributor base here over to MGD Welding near Partyville, right next to Hoffman's Auto Body, where we've had a couple misadventures with my brother. And they were able to weld this back together, thankfully. It cost $40, which does seem a little bit steep to me because there's not a whole lot of material there, but it works, so that's all that matters, I guess. I did get a nice little battery tender because this seems to be running down the battery. I'm not sure if it was any of my stereo equipment, so I actually unplugged that stuff for now to kind of troubleshoot. We'll see how that goes. And then I've got my jump pack because I've only had the tender hooked up a little bit, so it hasn't actually fully charged it to starting capabilities. But we do have a car that runs and drives again. Ooh, it runs like shit, but it runs. So, hooray! Today I am messing around with the timing on my old Mercedes-Benz because it will start, run like crap until it heats up, and then it'll idle fine. Once I get it up to speed, it's fine all the way up, but once I get to cruising altitude, as it were, I give it, I let off as you would to just maintain speed, and it starts to run like crap again. If I put the pedal down, it'll run fine. So all of that kind of hints towards a timing issue. So I've got my timing light hooked up. It's running off the coil, as you can see. I didn't bother lining everything up and finding top dead center on piston 1 or anything like that because the damn thing runs, which is usually a pretty good enough indicator that you're good. And I didn't actually change anything major with my last repair. I just pulled the distributor tube out, replaced it with the welded up piece, and then put it back in. So I didn't really change anything timing wise, except for the position of the rotor cap. Now on these old Mercedes, that's actually how you change your timing, is you just rotate this entire distributor piece. You can kind of see, well, there you go. You can kind of see this bolt down here. That's what keeps the distributor cap and the piece that you'll actually swivel, that's what actually keeps that connected to the distributor tube or base. So you just kind of loosen that bolt, and you have very little play in that when you actually start to twist it to adjust your timing, but that's how you do it. Now, you probably won't be able to see it on this video. I might be able to show you where the timing mark is, or where the timing indicator is, but I probably won't be able to show you the mark on the actual crankshaft. That's what we get. So there you can see that the timing indicator is that chunk sticking out, that little arrow sticking out right over the crankshaft, and there's a little indent in that crank as it's spinning around. As that spins and you aim this light at it, basically what you're trying to do is line up the mark in the crankshaft with the mark on the car. And I've actually got a manual for this. I've got 2 of them. It came with the car, and thank God for that. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, Larry's the guy that sold me the car, for anybody who doesn't know and is interested. Otherwise, it's just a little soundbite. But this car actually came with 2 of the books. So in the books, it says if your car is low on compression, you want to run it at about 7 degrees off of top dead center. Now, I don't know what the hell that really means when it comes to that mark on there, because there's so much oil on there that all the little marks that probably indicate 1 degree of timing at a time are gone. And I'm kind of lazy, and I really just don't care that much. So I've actually just been kind of playing it by ear, and then I'll go around and drive it and see what happens. So if you listen to the car, you can tell it's actually running pretty well right now, besides its usual hiccup every once and again. But now when I actually change the timing, it's pretty subtle, but you can hear that it's actually running a little more rough once I've done that. And in that position, when I look at my timing light, the timing mark on the crankshaft actually lines up perfectly with the timing indicator on the engine. And as this is an old car that's been beat the crap out of in probably its previous ownership and absolutely been beat the crap out of under my ownership, I'm willing to guess it's down on compression a bit. So I'm just gonna, I believe, advance the timing a bit. Yeah, you might be able to catch it a little bit, kind of see where the mark is on there. So it's just a little bit ahead of where it's supposed to be, and I don't actually know how many degrees of play there are in there, seeing as you don't really have very much room to adjust it. But I'm willing to bet it's maybe 10 degrees above top dead center right now. So basically what I'm going to do is take it out, drive it, and see if it works any better. If it doesn't, I'm just going to throw an LS in there because fuck this engine. Or on the other hand, maybe I'll just actually come back and tune it some more until it runs a little more decently. But as it is, that's a little quick explainer on how to adjust your timing on these old cars. It's literally just a 10mm bolt that holds your distributor cap, basically, and your distributor components to the distributor base. So it's pretty simple. It's really easy to adjust. If you don't have a timing light, just kind of do it by ear. You'll get a feel for it. Where to put the key? Oh, there we go. Keys. Everything out of the way? Yeah. Okay. See if it's at least getting sparked.
I want to make sure that this is actually working. Because he might have fried the coil.
But I also definitely fucked up the ignition wire. So where the fuck does that even go?
Well, it wanted to go back into there. Lucky you didn't bring your car down.
Well, that was the first thing I checked was fuses because everything smelled kind of burny, and I was like, You know, if I did burn my car down though. Something insurance. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the coil's good. It's just the ignition's.
Hold your throttle wide open.
Oh.
Yeah, because now it's flooded, that's why. So hold your throttle wide open.
Cool. This is what it usually runs like. Blah 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 blah. Cool.
Then to shut the engine off, all you gotta do is, hey, look at that.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to fabricate a wire or.
Yep. Figure out what wire is key on power.
Okay.
But
And
it
then
has
just run
to
it
be.
straight to that.
I'd trace this wire.
Yeah, I would rather figure out where it actually goes to.
Because this is a dual, it'll be a dual way wire. Because there's key on power and then there's key on while cranking power. And if you have key on power but not key on while cranking, you'll never start it because it'll cut power to this.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like how sometimes you turn the key on and the radio comes on, and as soon as you start the car,
so
the
there's
radio
accessory
goes off.
and then there's on.
Right.
Okay, I got
So
you
you
now.
need it to have it on both
Son of a shit.
spots.
So I bet it's... Well, I'd also rather have it hooked up this way because there's a fuse in between, I'm sure.
Put your own fuse back in, but just get an inline fuse, or I can give you one.
Okay.
Because that way it's done. Run all new wire
So that
from wherever you
explains,
can get to.
explains the melty look.
Because otherwise you're gonna find this somewhere in there, and you'll tie into it here, and then that'll be the next spot that melts. And you'll be always chasing yourself.
So I'll have
Since
to...
you know this wire's already this shitty, you're better off just to replace it all the way up.
Oh, like all the way back to the key, basically?
If it goes to the key switch, or if it goes to a block off of the key switch, whatever.
So what you're saying is it's actually probably easier to just swap in a 350.
I mean, I do like that idea.
If I can get one cheap enough. Well, anyway,
You were kind of hoping you blew it up.
I was, actually. That's exactly what I told the guy, too. When he stopped by, I was like, well, now I get to put in a 350. Woo!